Hello everybody, you're very welcome to this series of the BCM Business Corner. We have developed this campaign to create awareness around different challenges that people in business are experiencing and hopefully to learn from each other on how people have overcome them in the past, and we hope to inspire somebody along the way. So here with me today is Pat McCormack from AIA Loss Assessors. And Pat has had a very long journey of entrepreneurship and has had a lot of changes. So we might start with maybe telling me a little bit about where you are now today and a little bit about your business and what you do.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, thanks for asking me here today. I run a loss assessing business, a property loss assessing, whereby if property owners' property suffers loss or damage as a result of an insured peril, which would be fire, flood or storm, we represent them and make sure that they get exactly what they're entitled to from the insurance company.
So if something happens in somebody's house or their property or their business, is it their insurance company that's the first port of call and then you, or how does that channel work?
It varies really. I mean, if it's a substantial loss, if the roof is blown off the house or if there's a burglary, forced entry, you know, it would be prudent then to ring the insurance company first. In other cases where people aren't sure whether or not they're entitled to claim or what peril they should claim under, well then, yeah, you should contact a loss assessor and we will then advise people on how they should present their claim.
Okay, and you didn't always start out then, so how long is AIA Loss Assessors around?
We will be 9 years next month.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
But then, so you didn't start out as a loss assessors. So tell me where you started.
Yeah, well, building has been my background. My dad was a builder, his dad was a builder, so building was in the blood. So I ran a property development and contracting business for about 20 years here, but with the downturn in the economy, it really affected our business badly. Yeah. It was basically like turning off a tap and all our source of income dried up. We put all the money we had into certain developments that just were no longer bankable by the banks, and as a result of that, I was left with no option but to go on social welfare and try and start off from scratch again, and ended up trying to set up the business to find out that I had to be authorised and regulated by the central bank. So it took me 2.5, nearly 3 years for that process to complete. And in the meantime, I was in receipt of social welfare, and which was our lifeline really to get by at the time. And when I did get regulated and was able to start earning money, it was great to know that I was able to wean myself off social welfare, and it was just a great leg up. I know, as I was saying earlier, you know, sometimes we can knock the backup from the government bodies, but for me, if I didn't have that, I would have had to emigrate, and that was just something that wasn't palatable for me because I had 4 young kids that were in school, and we wanted to try and make our life here, you know, and so, you know, as a result of that and the backup that I had, you know, we've developed into a thriving business now where, you know, I've one person employed with me now, and you know, if things continue, we'll employ more, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
And like presumably that, you know, so that would have been 2008, 2009?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm sure there was a lot of people, you know, around that time going through a very similar situation. There was nobody in the construction industry, you know, that wasn't affected. You know, we had a lot of people emigrating. And I'm sure that was mentally very challenging and a very difficult thing even to walk away from that and, go back on social welfare and, try to build something from scratch. That's huge credit to you.
Well, it was very demoralising, I have to say, and it's not what you set out to happen, but, I accepted the situation as it was, and once you do that, you're able to plan to move on, rather than trying to blame situations or conditions or whatever. You just have to get on, and the fact I had to do exams in order to get authorised, that was all a stepping stone, and it gave me confidence to move on. And there's no doubt about it. Another aspect of it is that my business failed, one that I had built up over 20 years. But when a business fails, you also learn so much, and it gave me so much experience starting out in this business now. I haven't fallen into the same pitfalls that I experienced before. I'm a lot wiser, I would like to think, and would have a better understanding of how business works. And thankfully, it's proven to be a good move for me. By extension, in my building knowledge and background, I'm able to apply that very well in this profession that I'm in now. Yeah,
it's lovely to hear you talk so positively, and that you've really taken the good out of all of it. The good, the failing was massive learning, which was fantastic, and that it's now really, really helped you grow in your new business, which is brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And so because you're 9 years now in AIA Loss Assessors, and you're fairly well established. What are the challenges for you now as a business owner today? Like, is it growth, expansion? Like, what do you see as the biggest challenges? Maybe even in your industry as well.
Well, it's a really good question, because word of mouth is without doubt the major growth determining factor for our business to grow. And the business will grow if you apply yourself and give good customer service. It will grow organically anyway. And that's what I have found. But the challenge for me, and one that I set out for myself, is to have a customer first outlook and attitude. And the way I really want to improve our business is along the lines that if a client has to ring us, well, then we're not doing our job, because once a person has to ring you, they're thinking about things, they're getting upset, they're worrying. So if we can preempt that and call them before they need to call us, I think that's a massive stepping stone for us to continue with improving our customer service and growth, obviously by extension. And I'm probably, to be honest with you, Helen, I'm probably at my optimum level of business at the moment. If I want to move forward, I need to take on more staff, and I just want to, I think, maybe plateau for a little while and solidify the growth, and with maybe in 2 years' time then to move on another bit,
What do you think about, so climate change is obviously bringing a lot more storms and a lot more, we'll say, damage to people's property and homes. Is there any advice maybe that you'd offer to people about how to sort of safeguard themselves, I guess?
Yeah, another great question. Yeah, obviously property maintenance is key. Before the winter comes in, you should make sure your chimney is cleaned.
Okay,
Check exactly. I'm past that stage now. That the roof is in good condition. The gutters are cleaned. It's the common sense stuff, really. But you know, that your attic is insulated, that the pipes are insulated. Just as I say, common sense stuff that maybe we used to do a lot more 20, 30 years ago, but people have so many more areas of their life now that are taking their attention, you know, a lot more distractions.
Yes.
So yeah, property maintenance is the main thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And that will certainly will reduce damage occurring, you know, as a result of storm, or, you know, with the fluctuations in temperature, you know, a lot more freezing. Well, we are too getting a lot more colder winters.
Yes. So for somebody in business, what's the key piece of advice that you would offer them?
The key piece of advice would be, if you have a passion, if there's something you want to achieve, go 100% for it. Don't listen to detractors, because there's plenty of, as we would call, hob lawyers out there that think they have more knowledge of areas than you. But if you have a passion to do something, do it. And research. Research.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much.
No
Thanks
problem.
for being here today. So I hope you've all got something out of that, and tune in next week for more. Thanks so much.